Hello, you glorious viewers and subscribers who are still out there to watch my content. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for being here. Now, about 1 year ago, I made a video called Top 10 American Slums, Exploring Ghettos in the USA through Google Street View. As the title of that video suggests, in that video I used Google Street View to explore derelict locations in American cities. Oh man, look at these sweet numbers. Over 250k views and an amazing like to dislike ratio. Yeah, those were the days when YouTube still showed my videos in the search results. Now, why am I referring to that nice video I made about a year ago? Well, because of a message I read in the comments. Due to matters of privacy, I erased the name of the guy who posted the comment, but he said, "Selecting 2 or 3 spots on Google Earth in a city does not make it a slum." And I was like, what? Man, did you even watch the video? In the video, I selected no less than 38 streets in 10 American cities. The video showed vast ghetto areas, mainly consisting of buildings that were abandoned, collapsed, or set on fire. And many of these streets had turned into public waste dumps. It was horrible. Even walking through these areas just in Google Street View made me shiver. In my opinion, these areas totally qualify as slums. So my response was, in a city like Detroit, there's tens of miles of streets with abandoned, collapsed and burned down buildings. It's the same in many of these other American cities. I thought my video was pretty comprehensive, but if you want more, I gladly make a part 2. As I wrote that reply, I immediately knew that I would make a follow-up to that video. Because that top 10 of American slums was just the tip of the iceberg. So here we go. Here is part 2 of my American Slums series. In this video I focused on one specific city, being Oakland, California. I thought, let's go to the Golden State, which is famous all over the world as a place where dreams come true. Well, watch this video and draw your own conclusions. So let's go to Oakland, California. So there we are. Welcome to Oakland, California. And the first few images you see here might feel familiar as to what the media tend to show you of the Golden State. Palm trees, shopping malls, and sunshine. Hooray! Now, before we get any further into this video, I really want to make clear that videos like these are not meant to blame or shame the people who live in these areas. Videos like these are meant to address an important issue. And that is how those in charge and in power in the United States have ruined so many American cities and therefore have ruined so many lives of hardworking people. In my opinion, it's an absolute disgrace that governments and big corporations let cities fall into decline in a way that I will present to you in this video. And what is the root cause of all this trouble? It's the ever-growing gap between the rich and the poor. It's the fact that 30 years ago, if a man or a woman had a full-time job, that was sufficient to provide a family with a decent average income that allowed you to buy a house, buy a car, and get your kids to a decent school. But for the past 50 years, America has changed. And people have to work double shifts to pay their rent, because buying a decent home is no longer possible for many people. Housing has gotten so expensive that people are forced out of their homes and now have to live on the streets. And as the images in Google Street View will show you, in Oakland, California, homelessness is completely out of control. As you can see in the footage that I'm showing you now, The palm trees, the shopping malls and the sunshine are just a tiny layer around a much more complicated situation. The Burger King in this footage looks pretty nice, yet it is surrounded by empty plots of land that are used as a public garbage bin. And indeed, just 100 yards away from Burger King, people are living and sleeping in their cars and in tents on the streets. Now, before people will accuse me of intentionally selecting bad spots in Oakland to make that city look bad, first of all, I have no reason to make Oakland look bad. I'm not into these American city feuds. I'm from Europe, and I have no interest in making specific American cities look good or look bad. The reality is that I found about 20 spots in Oakland, California, where homeless people were living on the streets in just 1 hour of fooling around in Google Street View. And in some cases, it was really, really bad. Like in this case that you're watching right now. It's a stretch of land right next to the East 12th Street in Oakland, California. And it actually looks like what you might expect from true slums in so-called third world countries. As a European, I have always looked up to America. It was the land where anything is possible. And that is what the current American president is telling the people. America is the land of possibilities. Well, tell that to the people who have been forced out of their homes and now have to live in this slum. It's hardly imaginable what the living conditions are in these slums. There is no fresh water tap, there is no bathroom, there is no electricity, there is no heating or cooling. It is both shocking and very disturbing to realize that people actually live in places like these in one of the richest countries in the world. This is another disturbing image of American reality in Oakland, California. In this place, people apparently just throw all their waste on the street, and by the looks of it, there is a person with a little cart actually searching through all this filth in order to find stuff that might be valuable to him or her. Here is more garbage on the street and a completely run-down RV. I'm afraid someone lives in there. At first glance, this looks like a normal junction, but in Oakland, California, homelessness is always nearby. So right next to the road, on some place that used to be a public park, is now a significant homeless encampment. Of course, these images are sad, but this is as close as you can get to funny in these kinds of situations. Yeah, sure, littering will be punished with a $1,000 fine. As you can see, nobody cares about that sign. It almost seems as if that sign encourages people to throw even more garbage on the streets. As you can see, even between two highways, people set up their homeless encampments, no matter the dangers of traffic or pollution. These people have got nothing to lose, and their failed government and greedy corporations don't seem to care. Why else would this problem continue to persist for years on end, with no government, being it federal or local, really dealing with this? The areas under highway flyovers are now becoming the most notorious, most polluted and sometimes most dangerous places in Oakland. In these places, the homeless are relatively protected from the sun and the occasional rain. In some of these places, homeless people flock together by the hundreds, leading to serious problems regarding safety and health for themselves and for the entire area. Look, these dudes are having some fun. But as I said, in Oakland, California, homelessness is always nearby. People have set up their tents in this parking lot. Again, another street littered with garbage, and 20 or more people living in their tents and in their cars. As you can see, there is still a lot of room, so if we come back next year, there most likely will be many more of them. Man, this all looks so filthy. If I look at these images, I can hardly believe that this is a first world country. But make no mistake, this is the US of A. The most horrifying areas in Oakland are now the tunnels. This place looks so dangerous and so dirty that I even didn't want to pass through it in Google Street View. After about 30 minutes of fooling around in Google Street View in Oakland, California, I ended up here. It's hard to even fathom what is going on here. I think the images are explaining themselves. The main question still is, why do those in charge allow this to continue for years and years and years? Look at this. As it appears, someone is actually living in this car. How can someone live like this? It boggles the mind. Now remember, I'm not cheating on you. I'm not showing you the same street or even the same area over and over again. This video contains images of about 20 different streets in different areas in Oakland. The homelessness problem in Oakland is about everywhere where the rich people don't live. Well, that is, you can buy an expensive penthouse in this fancy building, but even here, there are people living on the streets at your doorstep. And this is a very normal middle-class neighborhood with some brand new apartment buildings, yet at this open space there is a homeless encampment. Look, a nice green park near the waterfront. We can have lunch here without running into homeless encampments, can't we? Forget about it. If you're kicked out of your home, you need a place to stay, and a public park might just be the place where you cause the least trouble for other people. So logically, many homeless people in Oakland set up camp in public parks. In this spot alone, I counted about 100 people or more living in tents under horrible, unsafe and unhealthy conditions. Imagine your son or your daughter or your father or mother living there. It's a tragedy. This is the area around Wood Street in Oakland, California. During my explorations in Google Street View, I've seen many ghettos and slums, but this absolutely is one of the very worst areas of them all. Again, this is not in some poor third world country. This is America. This is even California, the US state with the largest number of millionaires in the entire country. There are over 1,140,000 millionaires in California. The divide between the rich and the poor has gotten out of hand, and it is now at this point I'm showing you in this video. And do you think there are any signs that the situation will improve? I am not optimistic about that. To me, this image is the saddest image of this entire video. There was a woman walking with what I presume to be her granddaughter in downtown Oakland. Look at what this child has to witness. What kind of image would a child imagine of her own future when she sees situations like these? Why? Why does America allow this to continue? If there only were powerful billionaires in America who can shoot rockets into space. I mean, if they are rich and powerful enough to shoot rockets into space, they surely can solve actual problems.